The United States Copyright Office stays ahead of its time in terms of women in the workplace, long valuing the role women play in the copyright system. Over the years, women have held positions across the Copyright Office. We have seen impressive leadership from the extraordinary women who have served as the Register of Copyright.
As the fourth woman to hold the position of registrar on an acting or permanent basis, I cannot help but think of the amazing women who have held the position before me. Barbara Ringer, Mary Beth Peters, Maria Palante. They have inspired numerous men and women here in the Copyright Office.
Having graduated from law school at Columbia University as one of the few women in her class, Barbara Ringer joined the Copyright Office as an examiner in 1949. She served as a section head, division chief, and then Assistant Register of Copyrights for examining. She also played a key role in the first major overhaul of U.S. copyright law in almost 70 years, spending many years before and after becoming Register, writing, revising, and pushing the legislation through Congress. Barbara Ringer became Assistant Register of Copyrights, the second in command at the office, in 1966. She was the first woman to hold that position.
For me, when I started working as an examiner, I think I went into one of the conference rooms and I saw a picture of Barbara Ringer. And I'm like, who's this lady? And so I did some of my own research and I discovered that at one point she was the copyright register, and she had really done a lot of work on the Copyright Act and just her own personal story. She was an examiner, and she rose up through the ranks.
For Barbara Ringer, the rise from assistant register to register didn't come without a fight. In 1971, upon the retirement of Register of Copyrights Abraham Kamenstein, Barbara Ringer was passed over for the job. Ringer challenged the appointment of a man to the position, filing a sex and race discrimination lawsuit. She noted her superior qualifications, including her experience and performance reviews, as evidence of sex discrimination in the selection process. Ringer also pointed to her willingness to speak openly about racial problems and her advocacy for the rights of African American employees as evidence of racial discrimination. The Federal District Court for the District of Columbia found that the rejection of Ringer's application for an appointment to the position of Register of Copyrights in the Library of Congress was the result of discrimination for reasons of sex and race. Ringer was appointed as the 8th Register of Copyrights and the first female to hold the position on November 19, 1973. Mary Beth Peters' career in the Copyright Office began in 1966. By day, she was a music examiner. By night, she was a law student at George Washington University. Like Barbara Ringer, Mary Beth held a variety of positions in the Copyright Office, leading up to her appointment as the 11th Register of Copyrights in 1994. During her tenure, Mary Beth led the office through a re-engineering effort that changed copyright registration from a paper-based to an online filing system. She also oversaw the implementation of several new laws. In 1993, Maria Palante served with Barbara Ringer on an advisory committee for the Librarian of Congress that explored the future role of the copyright law and the business of the Copyright Office in the digital age. She then spent several years in the private sector before returning to the office in 2007. She was appointed the 12th Register of Copyrights in 2011. While Register, Maria released the first comprehensive revision of the Compendium of U.S. Copyright Office Practices in almost 3 decades. She also continued Ringer's legacy of mentorship by establishing the Barbara A. Ringer Copyright Honors Fellowship for attorneys in the early stages of their careers.
So I think the Copyright Office has really benefited from its strong support of women from the register level down. So I think when you come to a place like the Copyright Office, where you can have people who look different from each other and of all types, including men and women in leadership roles, I think it makes a difference. It becomes sort of a breath of fresh air to work in that environment and can be, I think, welcoming and encouraging everyone to do their best in whatever position they're in. So I think that's part of what helps make the Copyright Office a great place to work.
All three of the women who previously served as Register of Copyrights have left a lasting legacy for the Copyright Office. And now, Karen Temple, the acting Register of Copyrights and the first African American to lead the office, continues the legacy of women moving the Copyright Office forward.
I've been the acting director of the Copyright Office for almost a year and a half, and I'm the first woman of color to hold the position on either an acting or permanent basis. As acting register, it's been rewarding to watch the growth of the office and see so many new faces join those who have spent 30, 40, and even 50 plus years serving the public here in the office. It truly is an inspiration to see how much office employees care about the office, the copyright system, and supporting our creative culture.